It feels like Skittles blew up all over the walls. Like everywhere.
These videos are not about just trying to convince the entire world to be my style. I mean, wouldn't I love that? World domination. I don't think we have to do that. I think that we can choose. Hello, welcome back to the House of Valentina. I'm Valentina, and my husband Jack and I were sitting here talking about decorating tips that don't work. I know, it's the opposite of what you normally hear here. We give a lot of tips on what does work. But, we were talking about some of the things that people think about, some of the things, misconceptions.
Misconceptions, yes.
That people tend to have about decorating, or they're like old school decorating tips that we don't really use anymore. So today we're going to talk about decorating tips that don't work, things that don't really help you achieve the ultimate dream home that we assume you are trying to build for yourself. So,
yeah, these are like the Jell-O molds of decorating.
What? What does that mean?
Like in the 60s, everyone made Jell-O molds. No one does that anymore. So like there's the...
They should though.
That would be good.
Maybe we'll bring some, next video will be like, what rules you should bring back. Well, today's gonna be lots of fun. We hope you hit subscribe and give the video a huge thumbs up. Let us know in the comments which one of these is your favorite. Cheers, you guys. Let's jump in. I'm setting this down.
Yeah, me too. Mine's gonna splash everywhere.
All right, so let's talk about the one that I think will make some people quite unhappy. Actually.
You're starting off that way?
I know, I'm starting off that way. We're gonna start with
Should ease them into it.
No, we're not gonna ease you into it. We're gonna start with one that I think is just, it's one that I've tried for so many years and I've just realized it just doesn't work, and that is using whatever you have. I know.
Oh my gosh.
I know.
Wow, you just went all in.
I know, I did. So here's the thing, is that I grew up always being told that you can decorate with whatever you have. I've spent many years decorating with whatever I had.
That's true.
I'm thinking about all the different houses that we've lived in.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
We've lived in 24 different places. We've lived on 4 continents. If you haven't seen the backstory video, it's definitely worth at least a good laugh.
Yeah.
We'll fill you in on where the heck we've been and what we've been doing. But I've always had the philosophy that I was supposed to use whatever I have. And I think that that can be good if you have good stuff that creates the look that you're trying to achieve in the space. But a lot of times when we go to clients' homes, they just don't have stuff that we can use to decorate their homes with.
Yeah, like it reminds me of those cooking shows when they're like, we're gonna make today out of Twinkies, Jell-O, and Cheez-Its. And you're like, even the best chef, it's hard to do much with that. So sometimes the ingredients really do matter.
They really do. It really does matter. And I think that sometimes you need to just, I have a hair like on my face. And one weird one over here. Okay, I'm sorry, I'm situated now.
You all right?
Yep.
Okay.
I think a lot of times we get into this trap where we only want to use whatever we have. And so we try to, what'll happen is that maybe you start with like a sofa that you're trying to use what you have. And you build the entire room around something that just doesn't work for the space. Or you don't have the right accessories, so you're pulling out grandma's tea set to decorate your coffee table with. And there's nothing wrong with that if you're going for a cottagecore look. But if you're trying to create a modern luxury style, putting grandma's tea set on the coffee table isn't gonna give you the look that you're looking for.
No, probably not.
You can't just use whatever you have. You really do have to sometimes assess what you have, assess whether what you have will actually work.
Yeah, now I've seen you do, and this works. I've seen you take it from one room where it didn't work to another room where it did.
Yes.
Like you've done that a lot.
He's like segueing us.
Whoa.
He's like, that's right. You can take what you have from one space, see if it will work in another. So when we bought the first sofa for this house, we bought a really cute sofa from CB2. It just didn't work in the space. It was gray on gray, first of all, and I was like, this is too much gray for me.
Oh, I remember that, yeah.
I did not like it. And that sofa made its way around into multiple rooms of the house. It went to the sunroom for a little while, and eventually it landed in our son Landon's room.
Yeah,
and
he
it
loves
looks amazing in his room. It works perfectly in his room, but it did not work perfectly in this room. We could have maybe doubled up the way we've done now, where we have the 2 white sofas facing each other. We could have done something like that, but I think I just knew I didn't want a gray sofa in the living room. And so
Yeah.
sometimes you can't actually create the looks that you want using the stuff that you have. So you might be able to move it to a different room. Also, I have so many clients. I actually learned this from my clients, because when they hire me and I'm like, well, I don't really know about that sofa, they're like, who cares? I'm just gonna put it on Facebook Marketplace. And I'm like, oh, okay.
Yeah, exactly.
Thank you. Okay, yeah. Then we can really
Yeah.
achieve the ultimate dream space.
Yeah.
Sometimes you don't have the money to just, get rid of something, and you might have to just wait. But I wouldn't build an entire room around things that you have that aren't working for you. So,
Yeah.
what?
I was just thinking, no, we see this so many times. I'm just thinking of all the examples. And I think there's this, we've been kind of lulled into this, like, oh, just reuse it all. And I think sometimes you just have to.
I think a lot of times the scale of what we have doesn't work. Maybe this is what happened to us when we moved from Copenhagen here to Atlanta. And I couldn't wait for our crate to arrive. We were able to bring back a small shipping crate worth of stuff. And I was looking back at the old photos the other day. And this is actually what kind of triggered this idea, this video, was that I was looking at what we had brought back, and I looked around the house and I realized I'm not using any of that stuff anymore.
Oh, that's such a good point.
And the reason why is because when we unpacked it in the little apartment that we had temporarily, a lot of that stuff looked pretty okay. Scale kind of worked.
It was a smaller living room, smaller bedrooms. Yeah, it worked.
And when we got it to this house, with the big tall ceilings, and even though the rooms aren't huge, they were bigger than anything. Oh my gosh, when I think about how tiny our bedrooms were in Copenhagen, they were itty bitty.
And to climb out over the end of the bed.
Yeah, in the primary bedroom.
Yeah, like there was no side. It was like climbing over the end.
Yeah. When this is a huge room compared to that, so everything just didn't look the same. So sometimes you might have things from past homes that it literally just like tore my heart out to pass those things forward, because we'd shipped them back. But I was like, I'm never gonna have the space that I really want.
That is such a good point.
If I just keep holding on to it.
I think so many times we just think it's about the quality of it, but sometimes it's the scale of it, or whatever.
The color.
Just because you move and your old sofa doesn't mean it's gonna work in your new place.
Yeah, and it might be like, we bought a red one, and
we had a floral one.
Well, hi, did you come and say hi? Yes, I'm red, just like this, what Louie's got. Come here, buddy. Goodness. Oh, you're gonna come say hi to everybody. Say hi, everybody.
He's like, I brought my Kong.
I got my Kong.
He's like Joe Dirt's like hanging out of his mouth.
I'm gonna just keep hanging around until you people put some peanut butter in this.
I know how this works.
I can be bribed.
Sweet boy.
I can be bribed.
He's literally giving no response. He's deadpan.
You're supposed to be sleeping. You want Dad to put peanut butter in there? You want peanut butter? Peanut butter?
You want peanut butter?
Chicken?
Bacon?
Treats?
He's like, you're saying all my...
Oh, Lord. Gosh. Okay, why don't you put some peanut butter in there? We'll keep going. Go get some peanut butter. Go, Dad. The next thing that I think we just need to chat about is the fact that I feel like there's so many designers who are insistent that we use a lot of color. And I just don't think we have to use a lot of color in our homes. Clearly.
Really? Where would the proof of that be?
I don't know why anyone would think that I thought this, but I think that there is so much pressure from designers. If you're into this, right? You're gonna read articles, you're gonna get magazines, and you're gonna read it on websites and other things, and they're all gonna be like, add color, add pops of color. I don't think we have to do that. I think that we can choose if we wanna have a lot of color or go with a neutral palette. I don't remember where it was. I don't remember where I read it, but there was an article that I read where it said, don't feel like you have to do neutrals. And I was like, oh, well, the tides have turned.
Yeah, exactly. Because suddenly everyone's doing neutrals.
I love this.
I know.
I love the neutrals. I think that when you're creating your home and you're creating your dream space, you can decide how much you want of color and how little you want. That's the fun of it, is that you are the master of your destiny and the master of your home. And you can choose if you want to have a lot of color, but a lot of traditional designers.
Oh my gosh, color everywhere.
Color everywhere. And I don't find that for myself, I don't find it very soothing.
No, it feels like Skittles blew up all over the walls. Like everywhere.
Skittles. You just have them like waiting inside of
There's
you.
all kinds of stuff in there. That's what happens when there's Chuck E. Cheese up here.
Oh my God.
No, but you do. You see some of these designs. We've gone to show homes, and you see them in magazines or whatever else, and it's just
Yeah.
like there's nowhere to ever rest.
That's what it is for me. Is I just feel like it's too chaotic for me. Like I don't know where to look. I don't know where to rest my eye. I love looking at it and I respect it and I think it's beautiful, but it's just not for me. Hopefully that makes sense.
Yeah,
Because I think that layering wallpaper and then a pattern on the bed and then extra patterns in the pillows and then there's another pattern in the ottoman at the foot of the bed and then there's another pattern on the chair and it's like, I just can't do this, and it's all in different colors.
Yeah.
It's just so overwhelming to me that this is a decorating rule that for me, I have decided that it is okay for me not to take them up on this one. I'm just gonna give it a hard pass and say no.
Yeah, I think a lot of people think, honestly, if there's a surface that you can paint, color, or whatever, that it needs to be something like unique.
Yeah.
The chair has to be different, and that has to be different, and you end up with like a room that is just loud.
I think it's just, for me, it's just too much, but it doesn't have to be that way at all, actually. It can be any way you want it to be. So
I love that.
If you're thinking about this, if you're thinking about using less color, I would say just go back to your space and start pulling back. Take some of the color out of the space. Start looking on Pinterest. That's a really good resource to look at. Look on Pinterest and see if you find yourself pinning over and over neutral rooms, and then look at what you've got in your own space, because you might go, if you look at my Pinterest, it's just like, oh, she loves neutral.
It's so obvious, so obvious.
Her rainbow is black, white, and like shades of beige and gray. So
Yeah.
this is what this girl likes. Okay, so if you look at your Pinterest and it's full of color, you may just need to disregard this one altogether and just put in an explosion of color into your home. It's probably what's gonna make you happy. Or if you're like, I don't know, like I haven't gone for any of these designs, what's holding me back? Is it because it's not actually what I really want? I think Pinterest is a good resource.
Yeah, totally.
That can really help you out. I'll leave the link for my own so you guys can check it out if you want to. So the final one, there's final two, but they kind of go together actually.
Okay.
And that is that you don't have to match everything. Because I think that that's a concept that everybody has done for a really long time. Like this was just something that we accepted, was the way that things were supposed to be done, that everything had to match and that it had to be like, you know, you had to use the quadratic equation to figure out exactly how many times the color green needed to repeat in your space.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
And it had to be the exact color of green. You know, like sitting right next to each other, they had to be exact, and then you had to match the wall color to that perfectly.
Oh my gosh, yeah. If you have to understand like algebraic equations to do your design, it's probably not.
It's too much for me.
Too much work.
I was good at math, but not to that extent. I feel like it's just too confining for me. Maybe I'm just a little bit of a free spirit in that way. I'm like, yeah, it doesn't have to be like that exact, you know?
Well, I think those of us who grew up, maybe you're like me, where on that 6th day and you got to stay home and you got to watch Price is Right, and then Showcase Showdown comes on and they show the dining room suite and everyone's like, yeah, and it's got every single thing matching. We just kind of reinforced that over the last few years.
But that's the other point that I was gonna say, which was that you actually can match, because I don't think that that was that bad of an idea.
That's true, in certain
don't.
places.
I think sometimes having things matching is calming to the eye. So I have found myself, like I used to, because again, this is what I believed I was supposed to be doing. I felt like a lot of the people I followed must have just been a little bit more bohemian or something. I don't know, like all the chairs are supposed to mismatch. They're all supposed to be, you know, vintage and sourced from some unique place that no one's ever heard of. And then the dressers have to be different from the nightstands, and the nightstands need to be unique. And it's just, nothing's matching.
No,
I don't like that.
We were talking earlier about the mismatched chairs. There are 3 things in life that I honestly do not understand at all. Wearing socks with sandals, don't get it. Drinking anything called unsweet tea, I don't understand that either. And the whole concept of all of our dining room chairs being different.
Yeah,
I do not understand that.
I have friends that just love that look, and I just respect it, but it just makes me anxious. I'm like, I need some uniformity here. Like, I like repetition.
Yeah, it drives me crazy.
Yeah, so I've realized the longer I've been working in design that I lean towards more architectural details that have high repetition. I like, squared off things, and if it can be rounded, but like uniformly.
He's spontaneous but bland.
No. I think that you will know what I'm talking about.
Oh yeah, totally.
You guys know what I'm saying. You can have, I really like the look of having 2 chairs at the end that are maybe different. I think that's really nice.
Oh yeah, I think it's really cool.
What I really like is to have all the chairs matching though. Just being perfectly honest, I love 3 chairs on either side and no chair at the end. That is my favorite thing. I love the way that just, it feels a little bit uniformed, it's matching. So that's what I'm saying. Sometimes you might feel like you have to make everything match, and then other times you might feel like you're supposed to make everything mismatch.
Yeah.
And there's some balance in there.
I was gonna say, it sounds like you're talking about somewhere in the middle.
Yes.
Not everything in the house is exactly the same, but also it's not totally random like a furniture store. You don't want that feeling either.
Random like a furniture store. Well, furniture stores usually would sell
what are the
matching sets.
Hold on, what's the place called?
The Dump. There's a place it's a name of a store.
Antique store. There's the name of a store? I was picturing a landfill.
No, it's actually called The Dump. And
Yeah, you don't want
it's all the clearance furniture.
your house to look like the antique store where everything's just random.
Right, it's just literally just a collection of stuff.
Yeah.
That stresses me out.
Oh, it stresses me out so bad.
I
want a house that's soothing.
Yeah.
And
it's
comforting.
Soothing visually.
Yeah.
I don't want to have to visually read all this stuff, but some people find that to be very cozy. So that's why I think it's important to really understand yourself. I think using, again, tools like Pinterest can be really helpful.
Yeah.
If you're sitting here going, but I like the chairs to all be mismatched, then you might want to get onto Pinterest and go bohemian aesthetic.
Yeah, socks with sandals.
Or you like cottagecore aesthetic if you like lots of things and the antiques and all that kind of stuff. These videos are not about just trying to convince the entire world to be my style. I mean, wouldn't I love that? World domination. No, I think it'd be really boring if we were all the same. The point is, take from these just a great conversation about the things that I found myself struggling with.
Yeah,
and
we both have.
assume that you guys might struggle with them as well as you're trying to put together your homes. I think understanding who you are and putting together a space that makes you really happy isn't always just about going, I just want to be happy. You have to understand what makes you happy. And these questions
a really good point.
will really help you to identify those things. All right, guys, we hope we have left you feeling super inspired and excited to enjoy your spaces and to make them your ultimate dream home. If you're needing more help, don't forget that you can hop over to houseofvalentina.com and there's just the little Dear V, right?
Yeah, so if you're on a laptop or desktop, look for Dear V in the upper left corner. If you're on a phone or tablet or whatever, look for the hamburger stack. It's those 3 lines.
What it's called.
I think so. I call it a hamburger stack because it looks like a hamburger, and I'm usually hungry.
Let's just go with it.
Look for the hamburger stack, open that up, and you'll see where it says Dear V, and you can literally type in your design question, what room you want help with, and you can submit 3 different photos to us so we can look at it and help you out. Okay.
Yeah, so make sure you submit your photos, and that way they'll be featured in upcoming videos because we want to be able to share with you guys the tips and tricks for your exact spaces. I think sometimes that can be really useful as well. So cheers, you guys. We hope you have a wonderful day, and we will see you in the next one. Bye.
Bye. I'm suddenly craving Skittles.
I don't know. They're like, you made it feel like they were going to be puked all over
No,
the
I
wall.
want your Skittles because you would sell Skittles would be like coffee flavors. It'd be like,
Ooh, that's
because it'd all be
idea.
like black and brown and white.
That's true.